Good evening, I'm Dennis Ward. Welcome to APTN National News. A controversial federal bill has been debated during third reading in the House of Commons. It would ease interprovincial trade barriers and identify resource projects in the national interest that would go through a quicker approval process. Prime Minister Mark Carney announced last week that Bill C-5 would pass before Parliament rises for the summer. The speed with which it is going through Parliament has upset First Nations across Canada. Today, the bill was debated during third reading. Earlier, the NDP successfully argued the bill consisted of two parts and should be split. The House Speaker agreed, and there were two separate votes on Bill C-5. Part 1 passed nearly unanimously with only one nay. The NDP and Bloc voted no to Part 2. But with the help of the Conservatives, Part 2 also just passed moments ago. Now, Bill C-5 will go to the Senate next week. The president of the Manitoba Matei Federation had an opportunity to voice his concerns about Bill C-5 in a parliamentary standing committee hearing earlier in the week. On Wednesday, David Chartrand told the Committee on Transport and Infrastructure that the bill has his support, but there is a lack of clarity on the role of the proposed Indigenous Advisory Council. He demands clarity on who will be on the council, what authority they will truly have. Chartrand says without that transparency, Indigenous leaders are being asked to trust the government they've been burned by before.
We are ready to support this bill with the understanding it will be implemented properly. To us, this means working with legitimate rights holders, governments, during all the phases of the project, from identification to selection to delivery. This time, the implementation of this legislation is imperative. We face a great economic threat from the south, and a recession would disproportionately impact our people. In this in mind, that the MF is prepared to stand with the Government of Canada in a timely passing and the implementation of Bill C-5.
Well, it's a unique way to protest against Ontario's Bill 5 and Ottawa's Bill C-5, and it's already underway on the Attawapiskat River in northern Ontario, as a family of 4 have embarked on a 400-kilometer journey by boat. Here's Annette Francis with that story.
20-year-old Geronimo Attawapiskat, along with his parents and brother, set out 4 days ago from their home in Attawapiskat. They're portraying the journey as a call to action to step up for the river and the land.
I grew up on the land my whole life. My parents grew up on the land their whole lives. My grandparents grew up on the land their whole lives. And we're so connected to this land you see here. This is just a tiny part of it. And we need to protect it. I mean, like, the land, the water, the skies, the animals, the trees, it's all part of who I am as a person. The language comes from there. The culture comes from there. Miswegagana comes from there. Everything comes from there. It's a core part of who we are.
Last month, Ontario's Bill 5 passed. It gives the province sweeping powers to override environmental and municipal laws to proceed with projects deemed to be important. As well, the federal government's Bill C-5 is being fast-tracked through Parliament with little consultation from Indigenous people. Attawapiskat says when both bills mentioned the Ring of Fire, it became clear he needed to do something in that area to have a presence. He's been posting about their travel up the Attawapiskat River on social media. Their next destination is Neskantaga First Nation.
We will then join together and send our message to the provincial and federal government. Both communities join together, and other communities that are willing to join us as well. We're going to send our message, then we're going to get started and start setting up teepee poles every half kilometer, both sides of the river, going downriver. And that's going to be a long project. And it's to restart our presence. At the same time, we'll send our message and say, withdraw Bill 5 and scrap Bill C-5.
According to Attawapiskat, encampments will also be set up along the river, where he'll stay as long as needed.
In 10 years, when I meet my children, or 40 when I meet my own grandchildren, I'll say and they ask me, what did you do when this time came? I'll say I did everything I could do I mean, I did everything that I knew how to do, not everything I could do. And for me, that's going upriver, that's taking drone videos, that's updating everyone on our journey and reasserting our presence within our territory.
According to Attawapiskat, there are plans to step things up another level, but for now, he's keeping things close to his chest, and details will be shared later. Annette Francis, APTN National News, Ottawa.
Members of the Yukon Liberal Party have selected their new leader and the territory's next premier. Local businessman Mike Pemberton will be the territory's 11th premier. Pemberton ran against former Kwanlin Dun chief Doris Bill, who lost the race by just 13 votes. If elected, Bill would have been the territory's first Indigenous premier. Pemberton does not currently hold a seat in the Yukon Legislative Assembly. A territorial election must take place on or before November 3rd. Red River Matei gathered on Thursday at the site of the victory at Frog Plain to honor ancestors who fought for Métis nationhood and trade rights. This year marked the 209th anniversary. Fiddle tunes rang in the celebrations on Thursday morning as guests spoke about the significance of the day. On June 19, 1816, Métis leader Cuthbert Grant led 60 fighters in a battle against 28 Hudson's Bay Company men led by Governor Robert Semple. Semple and 20 of his men were killed. The event was long known as the Battle of Seven Oaks, but is now widely recognized as the victory at Frog Plain, commemorating those who defended the Métis Nation. Manitoba Métis Federation Minister Will Guidon spoke to the importance of the yearly celebration.
You know, I'm really, really happy in the last probably almost 10 years that we've come together here since the 200th anniversary. In 2016, we had a big deal. We had our National Assembly here. But every year since then, we've slowly started to make this a tradition, and it's something that really warms my heart and it makes me proud to be a part of this, to point out to others who are not in our nation the importance of this event, the importance of what happened, the importance of those people who took that time in order to in order to proclaim, we are the new nation, nous sommes la nouvelle nation.
Coming up after the break, the final part in our series on indigeneity in the music industry. Stick around. Welcome back. Nowadays, it seems like Indigenous identity fraud is everywhere. Hear what professionals behind Indigenous arts organizations like C-5 Festival and Urban Shaman Gallery have to say about it. Learn more about the challenges of uplifting Indigenous voices in our final segment of Face Value, a parting gift from APTN's Veronica Blackhawk. Here's the final story.
Lift 'em up with spirit. I wish I knew the songs. Let 'em guide so they hear it.
Wyatt C. Lewis performs in a video that will prove to music festivals across Canada that they're worth booking. Behind the scenes is Alan Grey Eyes, director of the C-5 Festival and chair at the Indigenous Music Office. He helps Indigenous artists like Wyatt get a start in these spaces.
It's really important for those festivals to present as many Indigenous people as possible. I believe every stage gives us an opportunity to challenge stereotypes, the challenges that Indigenous organizations face in general, and that's we're competing with other organizations that have multiple years head start.
Experts agree that Canada's colonial history plays a big role.
The last residential school didn't close until 1996, which puts us at a distinct disadvantage, another disadvantage, because our parents didn't launch nonprofit organizations. They didn't launch festivals.
Working in the Indigenous arts funding sector at Urban Shaman Gallery, Justin Berlavi has seen his share of fraudulent Indigenous grant applicants getting approved for millions of dollars. He was part of a panel hosted by the Indigenous Curatorial Collective to analyze their identity policies.
We don't want to be like pretending police and like looking over our shoulders all the time and interrogating people who are our colleagues. So like rather than focusing on like the individual as being, someone who's malicious or like a bad actor, and trying to police at an individual level, looking at like our systems and structures.
When it comes to accessing federal and provincial funding for Indigenous artists, Justin says that most policies are still rooted in white supremacy.
What that creates is this relationship where we're modeling our behavior at our organizations, so our culture, to match the demands of government. And the people who are uplifted are the ones that have those set of skills, which often is in proximity to whiteness.
Alan and Justin suggest a holistic approach.
We need to work towards like kind of dismantling that and being more open as organizations.
And each community is going to have a different process. And what we're currently embarking on is consultations with Indigenous knowledge keepers, elders and grandmothers across the country in different communities and nations. And so the goal is to have a database that we can use to make phone calls and just do some back checking.
Indigenous identity fraud is a nationwide issue. Alan says other musicians can play a part in keeping things level by being mindful about sharing their platforms with up-and-coming artists.
I would recommend that if you're an artist that has developed a team, you have resources, maybe leave those spaces for new and emerging voices so we can hear an even broader, wider perspective from the Indigenous community.
As for now, the discussion of identity is a work in progress.
What we learned is overwhelmingly the music festivals wanted to rely on our artist directory on our website to identify people as Indigenous, to identify artists that they could book for their festivals.
And I think a lot of artist-run centers are all in the same boat. Like, none of us have finished our identity policy yet.
So just be patient, and I think listening is also way more important than having an opinion on everything that's happening.
Indigenous music and arts professionals say they want real change. Their stories, a reflection for all of Turtle Island to learn from.
We always had good faith for artists. Like we just took them at face value. We would have conversations, understand their communities, but it's not until now that we're realizing that the situation is really complex.
There's no time like the present for us to recognize just how complex identity is.
If you're lying, people will find out. If you're reconnecting and you really don't know, then say you don't know. And be honest about where that disconnect lies and what it entails, and you'll have support from the community.
Just recognizing that people are people, we're not perfect, we all make mistakes, but there's always, an opportunity to make things right.
Indigenous people hold real and valid pain surrounding false identity claims. While that hurt won't disappear overnight, we can approach that pain together and find a healthier way forward. Thanks for sticking around for Face Value. I'm Veronica Blackhawk, APTN National News.
Thanks, Veronica. You can find the whole series on our website, aptnnews.ca, or our APTN News YouTube page. A new 1 hour-long episode of APTN Investigates debuts on Saturday night. We'll speak with one of the reporters behind the documentary after the break. Welcome back. Time now for our photo of the day. With tomorrow being National Indigenous Peoples Day, Sandra Tolley sent in a picture of her dressed to dance, and we hope that she and everyone is able to enjoy tomorrow. You can send us your pictures to share@aptn.ca. Now let's take a look at tomorrow's weather forecast. Starting on the East Coast, showers in 25 in Halifax, 21 with rain in Charlottetown, 23 in Kuujjuaq, 7 with rain in Happy Valley Goose Bay. 27 in Montreal, showers and 25 in Val-d'Or. 21 with rain in Sault Ste. Marie, 27 and showers in Ottawa. Rain and 22 in Thunder Bay, 24 and rain in Sioux Lookout. Partly sunny and 20 in Norway House, 16 in Puckatawagan. 24 in Winnipeg, 18 with showers in Dauphin. 20 with rain in Regina, 15 in showers in Saskatoon, 17 in Meadow Lake, 18 in La Ronge. In northern Alberta, 20 in High Level, 15 in Fort Chipewyan, 17 and cloudy in Edmonton, 12 with showers in Lethbridge, 17 and rain in Vancouver, 21 and showers in Kamloops, 22 in Prince George, 25 in Smithers, 26 with rain in Old Crow and Beaver Creek, 16 in Yellowknife, 21 under the sun in Norman Wells, 7 in Sax Harbor, sun's out, and 20 for Paulatuck, 6 in Chesterfield, 11 in Baker Lake, 4 in Resolute, 5 with showers in Pangertung. In Winnipeg, 148 students from the Yellow Quill University College walked the stage from over a dozen different programs to make up class of 2025. A majority of the grads also happen to be mature students who went back to school after raising families. Take a listen to hear some inspiring words from 4 of them.
My name is Terrence Morin. I graduated from Addictions and Mental Health. Just want to do something good with my life for once and have purpose. Most of my life, since the early age, like teenager age, I've been in and out, incarceration, addiction, right, for a long time. And then when I lost my mom to an overdose, I just kind of woke up and I just wanted to do something good with my life. And so when I got out, right away I went to treatment, enrolled in school, and then I just kept on going. I share with the folks that I work with, recovery is real, always have hope, have dreams, and, it comes with putting in the work.
Debbie Behrens, graduating from the First Nations Child and Family Services Diploma course. Hoping to get my BSW and then maybe my master's. I don't know, my heart is in it, I just want to be able to support families, children in care. I would really recommend Yellow Quill because they're amazing. They make you feel welcomed. If you haven't been culturally in touch with your roots, they encourage it, but at the same time, respectfully.
Happy National Indigenous Peoples Day. Aho! My name is Jeremy Raven, and I graduated from addictions and mental health support work. For most of my life, I struggle with addiction and mental health. I've been there, and they see that as well, and it's just it's easier to open up and just offer the resources or the guidance that I once needed. Doing this work, and it fills my cup, it feeds my spirit, and it just it's a better way to live.
Yeah, I'm very nervous. I'm Precious May Toyashing, and I'm graduating from Adult Ed today. Go to school. It's so easy. It's easy. When I joined, I thought it would be hard, but I went, and then just after Christmas break, it's I might as well just finish. I'm already here. Let's just do it. I want to go into school to study to be a paramedic. I have my son here. It's his birthday, so he's here graduating on his birthday with his mom.
Congrats to all the grads out there. The plastic crisis is much bigger than just litter. From toxic fumes to microplastics, Indigenous peoples are raising the alarm about the potential dangers of global plastic pollution. Coming up this week on a special hour-long episode of APTN Investigates, the team takes a microscopic look at the issue to find out exactly how Indigenous rights are being upheld. Angela Bello is one of the lead reporters on the story, and she joins us now. Angela, thanks so much for being with us here to talk about this. Can you tell us why your episode is called Sacrifice Zones?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Dennis. I guess I'll first just say, I didn't really know what a sacrifice zone was, so I think it's worth describing what a sacrifice zone is. Essentially, it's a pollution hotspot where the land, air, and water are polluted by industry. But it's more than just environment being polluted, right? It's a place where the people who live in these areas are also negatively impacted by pollution. And a great example of this is actually one of the communities we visited for this story, called Aamjiwnaang First Nation. And Aamjiwnaang is surrounded by many industries that make up what is known as Chemical Valley. Some of these industries are ones that play a role in the plastic supply chain. And so they're part of the story.
Certainly, our viewers would be familiar with Aamjiwnaang First Nation. Even earlier this week, they issued an evacuation order due to high levels of benzene. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, that's true. And benzene has been an issue for this community for many decades. The latest incident is actually just one of many. Last year, for instance, Aamjiwnaang declared a state of emergency due to high benzene levels. And as a result, the community set their own emission standards for this specific chemical. This standard is more stringent than the one that's set by the Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks. And what happened last week was that Aamjiwnaang's air monitors detected benzene levels that were higher than usual. And the facility across from the band office also sent out notices to residents about these elevated levels. And although these levels were lower than the ministry standards, they were actually above the standards that were set by Aamjiwnaang. So this triggered an advised evacuation from the chief for parts of the community that are closest to the facility. And over the past week, benzene levels have decreased, so the community is set to move ahead with Solidarity Day events that are planned for this weekend. However, the chief of Aamjiwnaang did tell me that they'll be monitoring this situation closely.
For sure. Angela, how does this all relate to the issues around plastic pollution?
Yeah, that's a great question. And the facility that I'm talking about, they manufacture something that's called styrene. And styrene is used to make plastics that we commonly use, like takeout containers, for instance. And the emissions from production are just one of the issues related to plastic pollution. Most times when we think about plastic pollution, we think of litter, but it's actually more complex than that. There's issues around transporting and regulating chemicals, managing waste, and now microplastic contamination. And like we've known, it's become a growing global concern as they're being found in drinking water, food, and our babies. And although the research is finding that chemicals found in plastic could have negative effects on human health, it's not well understood what these long-term health impacts are. And aside from pollution and plastic pollution, this story is also about Indigenous rights and how they can shape future solutions. And one of those solutions actually is a global plastics treaty.
Well, Angela, it looks like an eye-opening episode, a special 1-hour episode. Appreciate you talking to us about it. Congrats with all your work here at APTN as well.
Thank you, Dennis.
And you can catch APTN Investigates Sacrifice Zones airing tomorrow night on APTN. We're all out of time for your APTN National News for this Friday. Our French language newscast is up next, so stick around for that. I'm Dennis Ward. Marcy Miigwech. Thanks for being with us. Have a great National Indigenous Peoples Day.